when you have a degenerative eye disease, there are times when you are faced with partial vision loss. Usually when that happens, it's very unsettling emotionally. So let me share with you my top 4 coping strategies in times of vision loss caused by my degenerative eye condition. Welcome to my channel. My name's Marie. I have myopic macular degeneration and I'm sharing my journey on this channel to raise awareness about a condition that is in desperate need of recognition due to its rapidly growing incidence globally. Right, coping strategies when things aren't so great on the eye front. The first tip that I personally find very helpful is to reach out to loved ones. Now this might seem quite obvious, but I find that we don't always do that, and if we do have a circle of supportive family and friends, it is very worth trying to reach out to them, because any episode of vision loss will trigger fear of the future, the uncertainty linked to possible blindness eventually. So it's very frightening when that happens, and it's very important to open up about this to people around you so that you don't face it alone. Now, I appreciate that we unfortunately do not all have a circle of relatives and friends who are supportive, but if you do, be open with them. Explain to them what is going on, how difficult it is. I'd say be quite, obviously if you feel comfortable, be quite detailed about what's going on. I personally find that drawing what I can see or cannot see helps other people realize what I'm seeing. If you find it difficult to draw, maybe try and take a picture on your phone, and with the doodling tools that you find on almost any phone these days, try and sort of reproduce roughly what you can and can't see so that people around you can get a better idea of what you're going through. Now, that being said, sometimes loved ones might react in an unpredictable way or not in a very empathetic way just because they're worried about you, and it's sometimes easier to push those worries away, including the person's worries. There's only so much they can understand because they're not in your shoes. They're not behind your retinas. They can't picture what you're going through. Even if you draw a diagram, it's virtually impossible to represent yourself vision loss if you're not going through it. Which is why, and that's my second tip, I think it is very important, even if you have a supportive circle of family and friends, to reach out for outside support. And what I mean by outside, I mean people who are not directly related to you, and also ideally who know what you're going through. So it may be that you want to look for possible counselling, and that can help, but I would strongly recommend that you look out for counselling that is specifically intended for people with sight loss. You'll find that quite a few non-profit organisations will offer that, often for free. I know the Macular Society, for example, in the UK offers it. I'm not sure if they do that internationally. That's worth checking. Personally, as a UK resident, I was able to benefit from counselling with the Macular Society, and that was specifically tailored to my position as a patient with a degenerative eye condition, and it was extremely helpful. Also, reach out to people who are experiencing sight loss. There are so many around the world, and not just with MMD. There are hundreds of millions of people experiencing all degrees of sight loss around the world. So it's really worth looking for them. Where to find them? Online, of course. It's very easy to find support groups on social media, which I will link to in in the description below. They are usually so helpful, non-judgmental, most of them. It is usually such a relief to find out that you're not alone in suffering with sight loss, because the emotional impact of sight loss is quite frankly devastating. It's important to share it with people who know what it's like. My third coping strategy in times of vision loss or simply uncertainty about my disease, even when I'm stable, there's always this sort of underlying fear that things might not be stable for very long. So when that happens, something that really uplifts me is to read about scientific progress in terms of eye therapies and any kind of treatment targeted to degenerative eye conditions. It is very exciting at the moment to see where we are. I think we're on the cusp of something quite major in terms of regenerative therapies, gene therapies, and even maintaining therapies. So all of this combined together can do wonders if you read about it. I mean, personally, it's enough for me to give me this little glimmer of hope that I might lack on certain days when the burden of the eye disease is too much. A word of caution though, do make sure that the resource you're finding information from are reputable sources, approved medical journals, for example, and obviously stay away from, you know, any snake oil remedies claiming to cure macular degeneration. These are not backed by science, and the efficacy of those remedies cannot be proved. So be very cautious about those. One last tip in times of uncertainty about my disease is to read about inspirational people who have learned to face adversity. Not necessarily people with eye conditions, people with any difficult thing happening to them. For example, I was reading the other day about this amazing woman in France who fell ill with a very severe form of malaria and ended up having to have an amputation of all limbs, both hands, both feet. She was quite young as well, a young mother of 3, and she was sharing her experience of that, and the way she was being candid about it was extremely moving and nothing short of inspirational, because even though she didn't shy away from the fact that, you know, it sucks, and gosh, it does suck to be amputated of all limbs, she said that she found strength that she didn't know she had, and that has taught her more than anything else that she's been through in her life. And that alone I find very uplifting. A story like that kind of gives me confidence in the fact that I might find inner strength, and actually that leads me to another type of coping strategies that I will share in another video, which are more centered on the inner self, you know, work that you can do within yourself when you feel down about your disease. So I hope you join me for that next video. Hope you enjoy this one. Please consider liking, sharing this content if you feel it can help anyone you know, and you can also subscribe. All of that will help me raise awareness. Let me know what you think. Do you have any other coping strategies? What do you do when you feel less than happy about your eye condition? Let me know in the comments. In the meantime, take care, and it's bye for me.